The rain fell like bullets on the cracked pavement of East Harbor Street. Elena Vasquez clutched her worn leather portfolio against her chest, her second-hand blazer already soaked through. She was running late. 15 minutes late. For the most important job interview of her life. Her shoes, the only pair she owned without holes, splashed through puddles as she turned the corner toward the downtown financial district. Her phone buzzed again. The third call from the hiring manager's office. She didn't answer. What could she say? That the bus broke down? That she couldn't afford a taxi? That desperation has a specific weight, and she'd been carrying it for 3 years? Then she heard it. A scream. Sure. Desperate. Coming from the alley between 5th and 6th. Elena's first instinct was to keep running. She had 7 minutes. 7 minutes to salvage everything. Her mother's medical bills. Her younger brother's tuition. The eviction notice taped to their apartment door. But the scream came again. And Elena Vasquez had never been good at ignoring people who needed help. She turned into the alley. What she saw made her blood freeze. A young woman, early 20s, designer clothes torn and muddied, was pinned against the brick wall by 2 men. One held a knife. The other held her wrist in a grip that left marks even from a distance. Please, the woman gasped. My brother, he'll kill you. Your brother ain't here, princess, the one with the knife sneered. Elena's hands shook. She should run. She should call the police. She should do anything except what she did next. Let her go. Her voice cut through the rain like a blade. The men turned. The woman's eyes, dark, terrified but sharp with intelligence, locked onto Elena's. And in that moment, neither of them knew that this single choice would shatter and rebuild both their worlds. Because the woman against that wall? She was Lucia Salvatore, sister to the most dangerous man in the city. And he was already watching. Welcome to Forbidden Empire. This is where power meets morality. Where the darkest choices lead to the most unexpected justice. Where ordinary people collide with extraordinary danger, and nothing is ever the same again. We bring you stories of protection, vengeance, and the complex bonds formed when 2 worlds should never touch, but do. If you crave tales that are dark, thrilling, and emotionally powerful, stories that don't just entertain, but grip your soul and don't let go, then you're exactly where you belong. Subscribe now. Because in the Forbidden Empire, every action has consequences. And some consequences change everything. Now let's return to Elena's story. To the moment one brave choice put her on the radar of a man who destroys enemies and protects his own with equal precision. 3 days earlier, Elena Vasquez had received the email that felt like salvation. She sat in the cramped studio apartment she shared with her mother and 14-year-old brother, staring at the screen of her laptop, the one with the cracked corner and missing a key, reading the message for the 5th time. Dear Ms. Vasquez, we are pleased to invite you for a final interview for the position of Junior Financial Analyst at Sterling and Cross International. Her mother, Maria, looked up from the couch where she was sorting pills into a weekly organizer. Mija? What is it? Elena turned the screen toward her. Maria's tired eyes, still beautiful despite the illness that had carved shadows beneath them, filled with tears. Oh, Elena. Oh, my baby. It's not guaranteed, Mama. It's just an interview. You'll get it, Maria said firmly. You're the smartest person I know. Elena smiled, but her stomach twisted with familiar anxiety. Smart didn't pay bills. Smart didn't stop eviction notices. Smart didn't make her mother's lupus medication any more affordable. But this job could change everything. $45,000 a year. Benefits, health insurance. A real salary, not the patchwork of part-time shifts at the diner and freelance bookkeeping that barely kept them afloat. Her brother, Carlos, emerged from the bathroom, towel around his shoulders, homework in hand. Did you get the job? Interview, Elena corrected. Friday. 10 a.m. Carlos grinned. You're gonna crush it. Then I can finally get a phone that doesn't require a flip motion. Then you can focus on your scholarship applications, Elena countered, ruffling his damp hair. Deal. That night, Elena lay awake on the pull-out couch, staring at the water stain on the ceiling that looked like a map of somewhere better. She'd worn the same interview outfit to 3 different interviews in the past year. Each time she'd been told she was overqualified, or too academic, or, her personal favorite, not quite the right cultural fit. Code 4. You're not rich enough, connected enough, polished enough. But this time felt different. This time she had a real chance. Friday morning arrived with cruel irony. Elena woke at 6:30 to the sound of her mother coughing. Not the normal morning clearing of the throat, but the deep, rattling cough that meant her lungs were inflamed again. "Mama?" Elena was at her side in seconds. "Did you take your medication?" Maria nodded, breathless. "Last night. It's just a bad day." Elena's jaw tightened. Bad days had been increasing. The medication wasn't working as well. They needed to see the specialist again, but the copay was $300 they didn't have. After this interview, after she got this job, everything would be different. She helped her mother sit up, propped pillows behind her, made weak tea with honey. By the time she glanced at the clock, it was 7:45. She had 90 minutes. Elena showered in 4 minutes, dried her hair with the blow dryer that only worked on the cold setting, and pulled on the blazer she'd steamed the night before. The blouse underneath was slightly faded from too many washes, but presentable. The skirt hit just below her knees, professional, conservative. She looked in the mirror. Not polished, not wealthy, but competent, determined. Would have to be enough. "You look beautiful, Mija," Maria called from the couch. "You're biased. I'm your mother. It's my job." Elena kissed her forehead. "I'll call you after. I'll be praying." The bus stop was 2 blocks away. Elena walked quickly, portfolio under her arm, mind already rehearsing answers to potential questions. She knew her resume forward and backward. Knew the company's financial history, their recent acquisitions, their market positioning. She was ready. The bus arrived at 8:30. She'd be downtown by 9:40. 20 minutes early. Perfect. Except the bus made it 4 stops before the engine made a sound like a dying animal and rolled to a halt. "Mechanical failure," the driver announced. "Next bus in 30 minutes. Elena's heart dropped. 30 minutes meant 9 o'clock. Then the downtown route, another 20 minutes. She'd be late. Around her, passengers grumbled and filed off. Some called rideshares. Others walked toward the subway entrance 2 blocks away. Elena pulled out her phone. She had $17 in her checking account. A rideshare downtown would cost at least $25. She didn't have a credit card. She'd maxed it out during her mother's hospitalization last year and never recovered. The subway. She could make it if she ran. Elena ran. The rain started at 9:20. Not a gentle drizzle. A downpour that turned the streets into rivers and the sky into solid gray. Elena didn't have an umbrella. She kept running, water soaking through her blazer, her carefully dried hair plastered to her skull, mascara probably running down her cheeks. She looked like a drowned rat, and she was still 10 blocks from Sterling and Cross. She'd called. Left a voicemail. "I'm so sorry, there was a transportation issue, I'm on my way, I'll be there as soon as possible." Professional. Apologetic. Desperate. At 9:43 she turned onto East Harbor Street. 7 minutes. She had 7 minutes. Then she heard the scream. Elena's feet slowed. Her brain screamed at her to keep moving. This wasn't her problem. She couldn't afford to make it her problem. But the scream came again, and something in it, raw terror mixed with fury, made her stop completely. The alley between 5th and 6th was narrow, shadowed even in daylight, filled with dumpsters and fire escapes. The kind of place people avoided. Elena turned into it anyway. 20 feet in she saw them. The young woman was pressed against the brick wall, one man's hand around her throat, the other rifling through her purse. The woman was fighting, clawing, kicking, but she was overpowered. "Please," the woman gasped. "Take the money. Take everything. Just let me go." "We'll take what we want," the one with the knife said. His voice was cold. Practiced. "And maybe we want more than money, princess." The woman's eyes blazed. "My brother will kill you. Do you understand? He will tear you apart." The man laughed. "Your brother ain't here." Elena's hands were shaking so hard she could barely hold her phone. She should call 911. She should run. She should let her go. The words came out before she could stop them. Both men turned. The woman's eyes, dark brown, sharp with intelligence even in terror, locked onto Elena's. "Walk away, lady," the one with the knife said. "This ain't your business." "I said let her go." Elena's voice didn't shake this time. "I've already called the police. They're 2 minutes out." A lie. But a convincing one. The men exchanged glances. The one without the knife checked the mouth of the alley nervously. "You're bluffing," Knife Man said. Elena raised her phone. "Want to bet?" For 3 seconds nobody moved. Then the woman, fast, decisive, slammed her heel down on her captor's instep. He yelped, grip loosening. She twisted free, grabbed a metal trash can lid and swung it at the second man's head. He went down hard. Knife Man lunged at Elena. She didn't think. She swung her portfolio, heavy with printed resumes, reference letters, everything she'd prepared, and caught him across the face. He stumbled. The woman grabbed Elena's wrist. Run. They ran. Behind them, angry shouts. The sound of pursuit. The women burst onto Fifth Avenue, into the crowded sidewalk, into witnesses and safety. Elena's lungs burned. Her heart hammered against her ribs. The woman pulled her into a coffee shop, through the door, past startled customers. They collapsed into a corner booth. For a long moment, neither spoke. They just breathed. Are you okay? The woman spoke first. Her voice was cultured, expensive sounding. The kind of voice that came from private schools and European vacations. Elena nodded, still catching her breath. Are you? Thanks to you. The woman extended a hand. It was shaking slightly, but her grip was firm. Lucia. Elena. They shook, and Elena noticed details she'd missed in the chaos. Lucia's torn blouse was silk. Real silk. Her ruined shoes were designer. Even muddied, Elena recognized the red sole of Louboutins. The watch on her wrist probably cost more than Elena's entire year of living expenses. That was insane, Lucia said, and then she laughed. Sharp, slightly hysterical. That was completely insane. You could have been hurt. Why did you help me? Elena blinked. Because you needed help. Most people would have kept walking. I'm not most people. Lucia studied her with those dark, intelligent eyes. No. I don't think you are. Elena's phone buzzed. She looked down and felt her stomach drop through the floor. 10:07 a.m. The interview. Oh no. Oh no no no. What? I was supposed to be. Elena's hands shook as she opened her voicemail. 3 new messages. All from Sterling and Cross. She listened to the last one. Ms. Vasquez, we've been waiting for 15 minutes. Unfortunately, we have other candidates scheduled and we can't hold the slot any longer. We'll be moving forward with other applicants. Thank you for your interest. The professional courtesy couldn't hide the dismissal. She'd lost it. The job. The salary. The health insurance. The chance to save her family. Gone. Elena set the phone down carefully on the table. She didn't cry. Couldn't afford to cry. Not here. Not in front of a stranger. Elena? Lucia's voice was soft. What just happened? Nothing. It's fine. That didn't sound fine. It was a job interview. I missed it. It's not your problem. Lucia leaned back and something shifted in her expression. A hardness entered those eyes. You missed a job interview to help me. I made a choice. A choice that cost you something important. Elena finally looked at her. Really looked at her. Beneath the torn expensive clothes and the smudged makeup, Lucia had the bearing of someone used to getting her way. Used to power. But also something else. Integrity. I'd make the same choice again, Elena said quietly. Money isn't worth watching someone get hurt. Lucia was silent for a long moment. Then she pulled out her phone, miraculously unbroken despite the struggle, and typed something quickly. What's your full name? Why? Because I want to help you. I don't need charity. It's not charity. Lucia's voice was firm. You sacrificed something to save me. Let me return the favor. Elena shook her head. That's not why I did it. I know. That's exactly why I'm going to help. Lucia finished typing. Give me your number. Please. Against her better judgment, Elena did. They sat for a few more minutes, drinking water, letting the adrenaline fade. A barista brought over napkins and asked if they needed anything. Lucia ordered 2 coffees and a pastry basket without asking prices. Your brother? Elena said eventually. You mentioned your brother. Lucia's expression flickered. Did I? You said he'd kill them. I was trying to scare them. But the way she said it, the certainty in her voice, made Elena think it wasn't entirely a bluff. Who is your brother, Lucia? Lucia met her gaze steadily. Someone you don't need to worry about. He's protective. He sounds intense. He is. Lucia smiled slightly. But he's also the best person I know. He just shows it differently than most people. Elena didn't push. Everyone had family complications. After another 10 minutes, Lucia stood. I need to go home. Change. My brother is probably losing his mind. Will you be okay? I'll be fine. Elena. Lucia gripped her hand. Thank you. Truly. You saved my life. I really didn't. Yes, you did. And then Lucia was gone, slipping out of the coffee shop into the rain, phone already to her ear. Elena sat alone in the booth, soaked and exhausted, staring at her ruined blazer and the notification on her phone that her account balance was now $16 after the subway fare. She'd done the right thing. Why did the right thing always cost so much? Elena rode the subway back to her neighborhood in numb silence. She texted her mother. Interview didn't work out. I'm okay. Home soon. Maria had called immediately, but Elena let it go to voicemail. She couldn't talk about it yet. Couldn't form the words to explain how she torpedoed their last real chance at stability to help a stranger. A stranger who was rich enough to lose $1,000 purse and not blink. A stranger who'd probably forget Elena's name by tonight. Stop it, Elena told herself. You did the right thing. Morality doesn't depend on outcome. But morality didn't pay the rent either. The apartment was quiet when she arrived. Carlos was at school. Her mother sat on the couch, pill organizer in hand, but she set it aside the moment Elena walked in. Mija. What happened? Elena told her. All of it. The broken bus. The rain. The alley. The choice. When she finished, Maria was quiet for a long time. Then she pulled Elena into a hug. I'm proud of you. Mama, I lost the job. I'm proud of you, Maria repeated fiercer. You saw someone in danger and you helped. That's who you are. That's who I raised you to be. But the bills? We've survived before. We'll survive again. Maria pulled back, cupped Elena's face in her hands. There are worse things than being poor, Elena. Being the kind of person who walks past someone who needs help? That's worse. Elena's eyes burned. What if there isn't another chance? Then we make our own chances. We always do. That evening, Elena sat at the kitchen table updating her resume for other applications. Lesser applications. Positions that paid half what Sterling and Cross offered with no benefits, no security. Starting over. Again. Carlos came home from school, took one look at her face and hugged her without asking questions. Love you, sis. Love you too, kid. At 11 p.m. as Elena was finally falling asleep on the pull-out couch, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost ignored it. But something made her open the message. Thank you again for today. You're extraordinarily brave. Sleep well. Lucia. Elena smiled despite everything. At least someone appreciated what she'd done. She fell asleep not knowing that at that exact moment, in a penthouse across the city, Lucia Salvatore was sitting across from her brother. A man whose name made grown men flinch, telling him about the woman who'd saved her life. And he was listening with the focused intensity he usually reserved for declarations of war. Matteo Salvatore did not show emotion easily. It was a skill learned young and refined through necessity. In his world, the world of shadows, power, and consequences, emotion was a weapon that could be used against you. But when his sister walked into his penthouse at 2 p.m., clothes torn and muddied, bruise forming on her wrist, his carefully constructed control cracked. Lucia. His voice was soft. Deadly soft. She raised a hand before he could move. I'm fine. I'm completely fine. You're hurt. Barely. She crossed to the bar, poured herself whiskey with hands that shook only slightly. It could have been much worse. It would have been much worse except. Lucia took a drink. Met his eyes. A woman helped me. A complete stranger. She interrupted them, scared them off. If she hadn't. Matteo was already moving, phone in hand. Where? When? Names. Matteo, stop. He paused. His sister rarely used that tone with him. I'm handling it, Lucia said. I've already sent Marco to find them. They'll be dealt with. Marco, Matteo's head of security, a man who excelled at making problems disappear. Good. Tell me about the woman. Lucia set down her glass. Why? Because she helped you. And because you're smiling when you talk about her, which means there's more to this story. His sister smiled wider. Her name is Elena Vasquez. Mid-20s. She was on her way to a job interview. She missed it to help me. She missed her interview. Yes. To help a stranger. Yes. Matteo was silent. In his experience, people didn't sacrifice their own interests for others. Not without expecting something in return. Not in this city. What does she want? He asked. Nothing. I offered to help her. She refused. Everyone wants something, Lucia. Not her. His sister leaned against the bar and her expression was thoughtful. She was terrified, Matteo. Shaking. But she stepped in anyway. And when I tried to thank her, tried to offer her something, she looked at me like I'd insulted her. Matteo processed this. Did you get her contact information? Phone number. I already texted her. Good. I want Marco to look into her. Background, Employment history, family situation. Everything. Lucia raised an eyebrow. Why? Because someone saved my sister's life, and I need to understand who they are. Or. Mateo met her gaze steadily. Or nothing. I'm not threatening her, Lucia. I'm protecting you. By investigating the woman who protected me? By being thorough. Lucia studied him for a long moment, then sighed. You're impossible. I'm careful. There's a difference. She gave him the phone number. Mateo forwarded it to Marco with instructions. Discreet background check, full financial profile, known associates. 20 minutes later, his phone buzzed. Marco's report was thorough. Elena Vasquez, 27. Bachelor's degree in finance, City University. No criminal record. Works 3 part-time jobs. Lives with mother, Maria Vasquez, chronic illness, and younger brother, Carlos Vasquez, high school student, honor roll. Eviction notice filed 30 days ago. Bank account currently $16.47. No assets. No debts beyond medical bills. Spotless employment record. References describe her as exceptionally honest, dedicated, and overqualified for every position she's ever held. Note, she was scheduled for final interview at Sterling and Cross this morning. Position would have paid $45,000 annually with benefits. Interview time, 10 a.m. She never arrived. Mateo read the report twice. Then he stood and walked to the window of his penthouse, looking out over the city he controlled through a network of carefully cultivated fear and respect. Elena Vasquez was poor. Struggling. Carrying her family on her shoulders with no support and no safety net. And she'd sacrificed her one chance at stability to help a stranger. Mateo had spent 20 years building an empire on the principle that everyone had a price. That loyalty could be bought. That morality bent under pressure. But this woman. She'd proven him wrong. What are you going to do? Lucia asked from behind him. Watch, Mateo said quietly. For now, I'm going to watch. Marco delivered updates twice daily. Mateo read each one with focused attention. Day 1, Elena returned home. Updated resume. Applied to 14 positions, all paying less than half her previous target. Made dinner for family using ingredients that cost $7.32 total. Went to bed at midnight. Day 2, Elena worked double shift at diner. 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., then 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. tips, $43. Brother's school requires $200 for class trip deposit. She told him she'd handle it. Day 3, mother's medication runs out in 6 days. Pharmacy refill costs $180 with insurance. Elena called 3 billing offices trying to negotiate payment plans. No success. Mateo sat in his office, reading about a woman trying to hold together a collapsing world through pure willpower, and felt something unfamiliar stir in his chest. Respect. You're brooding, Lucia said, entering without knocking. A privilege only she held. I'm thinking. About Elena. About the situation. You've been reading Marco's reports. Mateo didn't deny it. She's going to break Lucia. The pressure she's under, it's unsustainable. So help her. I'm helping her. I'm gathering information. By having her followed? Lucia's voice was sharp. That's not helping, Mateo. That's surveillance. It's protection. From what? He turned to face her. From the men who attacked you. You think they're just going to forget? If they identify her, if they decide she's a witness they need to silence. Then protect her directly, Lucia interrupted. Stop lurking in the shadows and actually do something. I am doing something. No, you're watching. There's a difference. Mateo was silent. His sister was right, of course. She usually was. But direct intervention carried risks. If he revealed himself too soon, Elena would have questions. Questions about who he was. What he did. Why someone like him cared about someone like her. And the answers to those questions might frighten her more than any attack. I need more time, he said finally. For what? To understand her. To know how she'll react. Lucia shook her head, but she smiled. You're fascinated by her. I'm interested in anyone who shows genuine courage. You're fascinated, Lucia repeated. And you don't know what to do about it. She left before he could argue. Mateo returned to the reports. Day 4. Elena interviewed for receptionist position. Salary, $28,000. No benefits. Interviewer's notes, obtained through contact at firm, overqualified. Likely to leave for better opportunity. Not recommended. Day 5. Brother's school called about overdue lunch account. Balance, $142. Elena asked for extension. Denied. She withdrew money from savings account. Balance now, $3.19. Day 6. Mother had medical episode. Elena called ambulance. ER bill will be approximately $2,000. Elena sat in waiting room for 6 hours. Did not cry. That last line broke something in Mateo's carefully maintained composure. Did not cry. He'd seen soldiers break under less pressure. Seen powerful men crumble when their empires collapsed. But this woman, struggling with poverty, medical bills, and the weight of her family's survival, faced each day with quiet dignity. She didn't cry. She didn't quit. She just kept going. Sir? Marco's voice came through the intercom. Update. Go ahead. The 2 men who attacked Miss Salvatore. We've identified them. Lorenzo Ricci and Tommy Chin. Small time. They run scams in the downtown area, targeting wealthy victims. Did they identify Lucia? Doubtful. But they might remember Miss Vasquez. She's distinctive. Distinctive. Yes. Even in Marco's security footage, grainy, distant, there was something about the way she moved. Determined. Purposeful. Contain them, Mateo said. Permanently? He hesitated. Normally the answer would be yes. Threats were eliminated. It was simple. Efficient. But Elena Vasquez had spared those men. She could have hurt them during the struggle. Could have encouraged Lucia to press charges. Instead, she'd simply escaped and moved on. Would she want blood on her conscience? No, Mateo said slowly. Not permanently. But I want them to understand that Miss Vasquez is protected. Make it very clear. They never saw her. They never remember her. And if they even think about retaliation, they'll answer to me. Understood. Marco disconnected. Mateo stood and walked to his safe. Inside was a collection of items most people would find disturbing. Documentation of debts owed, leverage held, evidence kept for insurance. But also, a small leather journal. His sister had given it to him years ago. For when you meet someone worth remembering, she'd said. He'd laughed then. In his world, no one was worth remembering beyond their utility. But now he opened the journal and wrote a single name in careful script. Elena Vasquez. Underneath he wrote 3 words. She didn't cry. Mateo Salvatore had built his empire on 2 principles. Information and timing. Information gave you power. Timing gave you victory. He had the information on Elena Vasquez. Now he needed the timing. But as he read Marco's updates, a pattern began to emerge. A pattern that troubled him. Day 7. Elena's landlord filed formal eviction notice. Court date set for 3 weeks from now. Elena consulted free legal clinic. No viable defense. Eviction likely. Day 8. Brother's teacher contacted Elena about Carlos's scholarship applications. Multiple opportunities available. All require application fees. Total cost, $400. Elena has $3.19. Day 9. Elena worked diner shift. Customer complained about cold coffee. Manager blamed Elena. Docked half her tips. Elena apologized, did not argue. Tips after penalty, $11. Day 10. Mother's medication expires in 2 days. Elena visited 3 pharmacies trying to find cheaper generic. All require prescription approval, minimum cost $150. Elena has $14.38. Mateo set down the report and closed his eyes. He'd spent his life believing that survival required hardness. That compassion was weakness. That helping others was a luxury only the powerful could afford. Elena Vasquez proved him wrong every single day. She had nothing. She was losing everything. And still, when she found a $20 bill on the sidewalk during her shift, she turned it in to her manager in case a customer had dropped it. Marco's note. Manager pocketed the money. Miss Vasquez doesn't know. Mateo's hands clenched into fists. You need to stop, Lucia said. He looked up. His sister stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Stop what? Torturing yourself with these reports. Either help her or don't. But stop this observation. I'm being strategic. You're being a coward. Mateo's eyes narrowed. Careful. Someone needs to say it. Lucia entered the office, fearless as always. You've spent 2 weeks watching this woman struggle. Learning everything about her. And for what? What are you waiting for, Mateo? The right moment. There is no right moment. She's about to be evicted. Her mother is sick. Her brother is sacrificing his future. And you're sitting here reading reports like some kind of... She stopped, frustrated. What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid. Then what? Matteo was silent for a long moment. I don't know how to help her, he said finally. Without frightening her. Without making her feel bought. Lucia's expression softened. So show her you're grateful. Show her that actions have rewards. That's not buying her, Matteo. That's justice. What if she refuses? Then you'll know she's exactly as remarkable as you think she is. After Lucia left, Matteo sat alone in his office, thinking. He'd moved governments with less planning than this. Had destroyed enemies with casual efficiency. But helping one struggling woman felt impossibly complex. Because Elena Vasquez deserved more than money. She deserved recognition. She deserved to know that her choice, her sacrifice, mattered. He picked up his phone and called Marco. I need information, Matteo said. Sterling and Cross International. Who makes hiring decisions for junior positions? That would be Richard Sterling himself, sir. He interviews all final candidates personally. Do we have leverage with him? Pause. We hold the mortgage on his vacation property in the Hamptons. He's 2 months behind on payments. Perfect. Set up a meeting. Tomorrow. Understood. Matteo hung up and stared at the photo Marco had included in today's report. Elena leaving the diner after her shift, exhaustion evident in the set of her shoulders but her spine still straight. Still fighting. He was going to help her. But subtly. Carefully. In a way that would change her life without revealing his hand. Not yet. Not until she was ready. Elena's phone rang at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. She almost didn't answer. Unknown numbers were usually debt collectors or scammers, and she had the energy for neither. But something made her pick up. Is this Elena Vasquez? Yes. This is Richard Sterling from Sterling and Cross International. I apologize for calling so late. Elena's heart stopped. Then started again too fast. Mr. Sterling? Yes. Miss Vasquez, I wanted to personally apologize for what happened at your interview. Or rather, your missed interview. I'm the one who should apologize. I had a transportation emergency. So I understand. And I've been informed that your emergency involved helping someone in danger. Elena blinked. How did you? The woman you helped is known to one of our clients. They made sure we understood the circumstances. His voice was warm, professional. Miss Vasquez, we were impressed by your resume and qualifications. But learning about your character? That impressed us. More. I don't understand. We'd like to offer you the position. Silence. Elena couldn't breathe. Miss Vasquez? The position was filled. You moved on to other candidates. We've reconsidered. Your starting salary would be $45,000 annually, full benefits, health insurance effective immediately. We'd need you to start Monday. Is that acceptable? Elena sat down on the couch before her legs gave out. Mr. Sterling, I don't know what to say. Say yes. Yes. Yes, absolutely yes. Excellent. HR will email paperwork tonight. Welcome to Sterling and Cross, Miss Vasquez. He hung up. Elena stared at her phone. Then she screamed. Her mother came rushing from the bedroom. Mija? What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything's I got the job, Mama. I got the job. Maria burst into tears. Happy tears. Relieved tears. Elena hugged her, and for the first time in months, the crushing weight on her chest eased slightly. They could make rent. They could afford medication. Carlos could apply for scholarships. Everything was going to be okay. That night, as Elena lay awake too excited to sleep, she thought about Lucia. About her promise to help. Had Lucia done this? Made a phone call, pulled strings? Elena pulled out her phone and typed a message. Did you have something to do with Sterling and Cross calling me? The response came quickly. I might have mentioned to someone that they'd be lucky to have you. Congratulations, Elena. You deserve this. Elena smiled in the darkness. What she didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that in a penthouse across the city, Matteo Salvatore was reading the same exchange. He'd arranged the job through pressure and leverage. Had made Richard Sterling understand that hiring Elena Vasquez was very much in his interest. But Lucia had claimed credit, protecting her brother's anonymity. As it should be. For now. Is she happy? Matteo asked Marco, who stood by the door. According to surveillance, sir, she celebrated with her family. Ordered pizza. Her brother hugged her for 2 full minutes. Matteo nodded slowly. Good. Sir? If I may ask, why go to such lengths? The job is a small thing for someone of your resources. Because for her it's everything, Matteo said quietly. And she earned it. Marco was silent, then nodded and left. Alone in his office, Matteo returned to his journal. Under Elena's name he wrote, Day 14, first thread pulled. She's happy. That's enough. For now. The coincidences started small. So small that Elena almost didn't notice. On her second day at Sterling and Cross, the HR director mentioned that the company's health insurance had recently updated to cover pre-existing conditions with no waiting period. It's unusual, the director admitted, but Mr. Sterling approved it personally. You're very lucky. Lucky. That was the word Elena kept hearing. When she registered her mother for coverage, the pharmacy called the same day. Miss Vasquez? We've processed your mother's prescription. Your copay has been, it's showing as 0. There must be some kind of premium coverage on the account. Elena checked the insurance documents. Premium coverage. The kind that cost 3 times the standard rate. But HR confirmed, all employees had it now. Another recent policy change. Lucky. When Carlos came home with information about scholarship applications, he was grinning. Sis, you're not going to believe this. The district announced a new program. They're waiving all application fees for students on financial assistance. When did they announce that? Last week. Perfect timing, right? Perfect timing. Elena wanted to feel grateful. She was grateful. But a small voice in the back of her mind whispered questions. Too many good things. Too quickly. On Friday evening she texted Lucia. Thank you again for helping with the job. I don't know how to repay you. Lucia's response was immediate. You already did. You saved my life, remember? Are we? Because a lot of good things are happening and it feels like more than coincidence. A longer pause this time. Maybe you're just due for some good luck. Lucia. Elena. I promise you, if I do something to help, I'll tell you. Trust me. Elena wanted to. But the coincidences continued. Matteo watched from the shadows. Not literally. He had people for that. But every evening he read Marco's updates with the attention he usually reserved for hostile takeover plans. Week 3, Miss Vasquez settling into new position. Performance reviews excellent. Coworkers describe her as brilliant and kind. Mother's health stabilizing with new medication. Brother submitted scholarship applications. No incidents. Week 4, Miss Vasquez received first paycheck. Paid all overdue bills. Set up payment plan for ER debt. Bought groceries without checking prices. Marco observed her crying in the store parking lot. Happy tears. Matteo stared at that last line for a long time. Happy tears because she could buy groceries. The wealth gap between his world and hers was so vast it was almost incomprehensible. He spent more on a single dinner than her monthly salary. And she cried with relief over basic necessities. You're doing it again, Lucia said, entering his office with coffee. What? Looking at those reports like they're scripture. She set a cup on his desk. Matteo, you've given her stability. Let her live. I'm not interfering with her life. You're not letting go of it either. Lucia sat across from him. When are you going to actually talk to her? When the time is right. You keep saying that. What does that even mean? Matteo didn't answer because he didn't know. The truth was he was afraid. Not of danger. Not of consequences. But of that moment when Elena Vasquez learned who he was. Because she would learn eventually. And when she did, when she understood the kind of man who'd helped her, would she still look at him with respect? Or would she see only the darkness? Sir? Marco's voice through the intercom. Update. Priority level. Matteo pressed the button. Go ahead. Lorenzo Ricci and Tommy Chin. The men from the alley. They've been spotted near Miss Vasquez's workplace. Every muscle in Matteo's body went still. When? This morning. They were watching the building entrance. Marco's team intervened before they could approach her. What did they want? Unknown. But Ricci was overheard saying he recognized someone from a few weeks ago. Matteo stood. Where are they now? Contained. Waiting for your instructions. I'll handle this personally. Lucia stood too. Matteo. They threatened her. His voice was ice. They went near her. That requires a response. A response, yes. Not an execution. He looked at his sister. I'm not going to kill them, Lucia. But I am going to make sure they never think of her again. Just, remember who you're doing this for. Elena wouldn't want blood spilled in her name. She was right. Again. Matteo took a breath. Let the cold fury settle into something controlled. Precise. Have them brought to the warehouse. I'll be there in 20 minutes. The warehouse was one of several properties Matteo owned throughout the city. Legitimate on paper. Less legitimate in practice. Lorenzo Ricci and Tommy Chen were waiting in the center of the empty space, zip-tied to chairs, guarded by two of Marco's team. They looked terrified. Good. Matteo entered through the side door, footsteps echoing. He'd changed into a black suit, expensive and perfectly tailored. The kind of outfit that said, "I don't need to raise my voice to destroy you. Gentlemen." Lorenzo jerked against the zip ties. "Look man, we don't know who you are. You don't need to know who I am. You need to know what I know." Matteo stopped 10 feet away. Close enough to see them sweat. Far enough to remain unthreatening. 3 weeks ago you attacked a woman in an alley. You threatened her. You would have hurt her if she hadn't fought back. Tommy's eyes widened. "We didn't hurt anyone. Because someone interrupted you. A brave woman with nothing to gain and everything to lose. Her name was Elena Vasquez. Do you remember her?" Silence. "Answer me." We remember," Lorenzo stammered. "Look, we weren't really going to, it was just supposed to be a quick grab, no one was supposed to get hurt. But you would have hurt them. Both of them. If Miss Vasquez hadn't intervened." Matteo's voice remained calm. Conversational. Which somehow made it more terrifying. "And today you went looking for her. We just wanted to." "You wanted to what? Intimidate her? Threaten her into silence? Perhaps finish what you started?" "No. We recognized her on the street and wanted to make sure she wasn't going to identify us. So you stalked her." "It wasn't like that." Matteo held up a hand. They fell silent. "Let me explain something to you," he said quietly. "Elena Vasquez is under my protection. Do you understand what that means?" They didn't. But they were starting to. "It means that if you so much as think about approaching her again, you'll answer to me. It means that if you mention her name to anyone, you'll answer to me. It means that if I hear you've been within 5 blocks of her workplace, her home, or anywhere she might be, you will answer to me." He stepped closer. "And gentlemen? You really don't want to answer to me." Lorenzo was trembling now. "We won't go near her. I swear. We'll leave the city." "No. You'll stay exactly where you are. You'll live your lives. Get jobs. Be better people. But you'll remember this conversation every single day. You'll remember that there's a woman in this city who showed you mercy when she didn't have to. And you'll honor that mercy by never becoming a threat to anyone again." He gestured to Marco. "Let them go." "Sir?" Marco looked surprised. "Let them go." With a reminder. Marco nodded. He approached the men, cut their zip ties, then handed each of them a card. Simple. Black. With a single phone number. "That's the number to a job placement service," Matteo said. "They'll find you legitimate work. You'll take it. You'll show up. You'll be productive members of society. Because if you don't, if you fall back into this life, I'll know. And next time, we won't be having a conversation." Lorenzo and Tommy stumbled to their feet, clutching the cards. "Go." They ran. Marco watched them leave, then turned to Matteo. "Sir, is it wise to let them go? They could talk." "They won't. They're too afraid." Matteo straightened his cuffs. "And if they do try something, we'll handle it. The job placement service, that's real? Very real. I fund it. Helps people transition out of crime. Most of them succeed. And if they don't?" Matteo's expression hardened. "Then they prove they don't want help. And I stop offering it." They left the warehouse together. As Matteo settled into the back of his car, Marco said, "Miss Vasquez doesn't know how many lives she saved, does she?" "No. Are you going to tell her?" Matteo looked out the window at the city lights. "Eventually. When she's ready to hear it." Matteo received his sister's call at midnight. "She knows." He didn't need to ask who. "What did you tell her?" "The truth. That you've been helping her. That you're grateful." "How did she react?" "She wants to meet you." Matteo set down the glass of whiskey he'd been holding. "That's not advisable." "Why not?" "She saved my life, Matteo. She deserves to know who's helping her. She deserves to stay safe. Meeting me compromises that." "Or," Lucia countered, "hiding from her compromises the trust you're trying to build. She's not stupid. She's figured out that someone's involved. If you keep hiding, she'll think you're manipulating her. But if you meet her, if you explain yourself, she'll understand. You have a lot of faith in her understanding." "I have faith in her, period. And you should too." After Lucia hung up, Matteo sat alone in his office, thinking. Meeting Elena meant revealing himself. His world. His methods. It meant risking the one thing he'd worked so hard to build, her good opinion. Because once she knew who he was, what he was, she might look at him differently. But Lucia was right about one thing. Elena deserved the truth. He picked up his phone and called Marco. I need to send a message to Elena Vasquez. What kind of message, sir? An invitation. But not from me. Make it subtle. A gift. Something that shows appreciation without obligation. What did you have in mind? Matteo thought for a long moment. Then he smiled. I have an idea. Elena woke to the sound of her mother gasping. She bolted upright, heart racing. Mama? What's wrong? Maria was at the window pulling back the curtain. Elena, you need to see this. Elena stumbled out of bed, crossed to the window and looked down at the street. Parked directly in front of their building, gleaming in the morning sunlight, was a Rolls-Royce. Not just any Rolls-Royce. A Phantom. Silver. Perfect. The kind of car that cost more than most people made in 5 years. What? Elena's brain couldn't process it. What is that doing here? Carlos emerged from the bathroom, toothbrush in mouth. Well, is that for us? Don't be ridiculous, Elena said automatically. Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She opened the message. Miss Vasquez. A token of gratitude for your bravery. The car is yours for the day. Use it however you wish. A driver will take you anywhere you need to go. This is not a payment. It's a thank you. MS. Elena read it 3 times. Matteo Salvatore. Lucia's brother. Mija? Maria touched her shoulder. What does it say? Elena showed her the message. Maria's eyes widened. He sent you a Rolls-Royce? Apparently just for the day. With a driver. That's... Carlos had abandoned his toothbrush. That's insane. Who is this guy? Someone very grateful, Elena said slowly. Or very controlling. Can I at least see it? Carlos asked. Against her better judgment, Elena nodded. They went downstairs together, drawing stares from neighbors. The car was even more impressive up close. A driver stood beside it, professional, dignified, wearing a tailored suit. Miss Vasquez. He opened the door. I'm Thomas. I'll be your driver today. Wherever you'd like to go. Elena stared into the leather interior. It smelled like wealth. Like a world she'd never inhabited. This is too much, she said. It's a gift, miss. Mr. Salvatore insisted. I don't even know Mr. Salvatore. Then perhaps today is an opportunity to change that. Elena looked at her mother. Maria's eyes were shining. When will you ever get another chance like this? Maria said softly. She had a point. Okay, Elena said. But just for today. And I'm not accepting anything permanent. Thomas smiled. Of course, miss. Where would you like to go first? Elena thought about it. Then she smiled. The hospital. I want to take my mother to her specialist appointment in style. The Rolls-Royce turned heads everywhere they went. At the hospital, nurses and doctors stopped to stare. Maria's specialist, who usually ran 30 minutes late, saw her immediately. Mrs. Vasquez. Please come in. And you brought, is that your car? For today, Elena said, not bothering to explain further. After the appointment, which went well, medication working, health improving, they decided to keep going. Where to next, miss? Thomas asked. Carlos was practically vibrating with excitement. Can we see downtown? The nice part. Elena laughed. Why not? They drove through neighborhoods Elena had only seen in magazines. Tree-lined streets. Boutique shops. Restaurants with valets and white tablecloths. This is where rich people live, Carlos said, nose pressed to the window. Some rich people, Elena corrected. Most people are just normal. Normal people don't have drivers. He wasn't wrong. At noon, Thomas pulled over near a park. Mr. Salvatore suggested lunch. If you're interested, there's a reservation at the restaurant across the street. Elena looked at the establishment. French name. Understated elegance. The kind of place where prices weren't listed on the menu. He made us a reservation? He wanted you to have options. Elena should refuse. Should reject this obvious manipulation. But Carlos was looking at her with such hope, and Maria was smiling, and when would they ever have this chance again? Okay. Lunch. The restaurant was exquisite. They were seated immediately. Given menus that were, indeed, priceless. A sommelier approached to discuss wine pairings. Just water, Elena said quickly. For all of us. The meal was incredible. Courses she couldn't pronounce. Flavors she didn't know existed. Carlos tried escargot and declared it weirdly good. Maria laughed more than she had in months. And Elena let herself enjoy it. Just for a moment. Just for one meal. When the check came, the waiter simply said, "Taken care of, miss? Courtesy of Mr. Salvatore." Of course it was. After lunch, they drove to Carlos's school. He'd forgotten a textbook he needed for homework, and Elena wanted to pick it up. When they pulled up in the Rolls-Royce, students stopped and stared. "Elena," Carlos whispered. "This is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me." She ruffled his hair. "Don't get used to it." But even she had to admit, it felt good to be seen. To be respected. To have people look at them as if they mattered. Was this how the other half lived? By evening they were exhausted, the good kind of exhausted. Thomas drove them home as the sun set, painting the city gold. "Thank you," Elena said as they pulled up to her building. "For everything. It was an incredible day." "My pleasure, Miss Vasquez." Thomas handed her a small card. "Mr. Salvatore wanted you to have this. His personal contact information. In case you'd like to thank him yourself." Elena took the card. Heavy paper. Embossed. A single phone number. "He's expecting my call?" "He's hoping for it. But there's no obligation." Elena nodded slowly. That night, after her mother and brother had gone to bed, she sat on the couch and stared at the card. One phone call. One conversation. And she'd finally know who this mysterious protector was. She dialed. 3 rings. Then a voice. Come. Controlled. "Miss Vasquez. I'm glad you called." Elena's throat went dry. "Mr. Salvatore." "Matteo, please." "Mr. Salvatore is my father." "Matteo." She tested the name. It felt strange on her tongue. Intimate. "I'm calling to say thank you. For today. For the car, the meal, all of it." "You're welcome. Did you enjoy yourself?" "I did. So did my family." She paused. "But you know that already, don't you?" A moment of silence. Then, "You're perceptive. I'm observant. There's a difference." "Ah, yes. I imagine you've noticed quite a few things lately. Like my mysteriously improved life circumstances?" "Yes. I've noticed." "Are you angry?" Elena considered the question. "I don't know what I am. Confused mostly. Why would a stranger do all this for me?" "You're not a stranger, Miss Vasquez. You saved my sister's life. That makes you family." "I'm not your family. Perhaps not by blood. But by action? By choice? Those bonds can be stronger than genetics." Elena stood, paced her small living room. "You've been watching me. Helping me. Changing my life without asking permission." "Yes. That's not okay." "I know." His calm acceptance threw her. "Then why did you do it?" "Because you deserved help and you wouldn't have accepted it if I'd asked. So I provided it anyway." "That's manipulation." "It's protection. Without consent." "Would you have consented?" Elena opened her mouth. Closed it. He was right. She would have refused. Would have insisted on handling everything herself, even if it killed her. "That doesn't make it right," she said finally. "No," Matteo agreed. "It doesn't. But it was necessary." "Says who?" "Says someone who's seen what happens when good people slip through the cracks. When bravery goes unrewarded. When morality costs everything and gives nothing back." His voice was intense now. Passionate. "You made a choice, Elena. A hard choice. You sacrificed your own security to help a stranger. And in doing so, you demonstrated a kind of courage that's rare in this world. So yes, I helped you. And I'd do it again. Because people like you deserve to succeed." Elena sank back onto the couch. "People like me? People who do the right thing even when it costs them everything." She was quiet for a long moment. "Your sister said you're complicated." "That's generous of her." "What does that mean? Complicated?" "It means I operate in a world that most people never see. A world where power and protection are currencies and morality is flexible." "Are you saying you're a criminal?" "I'm saying I'm someone who maintains order in places where the law can't reach. Or won't." "That sounds like a justification." "It's an explanation. Not a defense." Elena closed her eyes. "Why tell me this?" "You could have lied." "Because you deserve honesty. And because if we're going to know each other, and I think we are, you should know exactly who I am." "Who are you, Matteo Salvatore?" "I'm someone who protects his own. Someone who rewards loyalty and punishes betrayal. Someone who exists in the spaces between legal and illegal, right and wrong." He paused. "And I'm someone who was impressed by your courage. Who wants to help you succeed. Who thinks you're remarkable." Elena's heart was racing. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll meet me. In person. Tomorrow. I'll answer any questions you have." "Why would I do that?" Because you're curious, because you want to understand, and because whether you admit it or not, you want to see the man behind the help. He was right. She hated that he was right. Where? There's a coffee shop. Neutral ground. Public. Safe. I'll text you the address. What if I don't come? Then I'll respect your choice, and I'll continue helping you from a distance. But Elena? Yes. I hope you come. The line went silent. Elena stared at her phone. Tomorrow. She was going to meet the man who'd changed her life, and she had no idea what to expect. Elena changed her outfit 4 times before leaving the apartment. You look beautiful, Mija, Maria said, watching from the couch. I look nervous. You look like yourself. That's all you need. Elena wore black pants, a simple white blouse, minimal jewelry. Professional. Confident. Not trying too hard. You're meeting him, Carlos said. It wasn't a question. I'm meeting him. Is that safe? Elena smiled. He's kept me safe for weeks without me knowing. I think one coffee meeting will be fine. But what if he's dangerous? He is dangerous, Elena said honestly. But not to me, she hoped. The coffee shop was in a nice neighborhood, not too wealthy, not too poor. Neutral as Mateo had promised. Elena arrived 10 minutes early and chose a table near the window. Visible. Public. She ordered tea she didn't drink and waited. At exactly 10 a.m. the door opened. A man entered. He was not what she expected. Tall, yes. Well-dressed in a dark suit. But younger than she'd imagined. Maybe mid-30s. He moved with contained power, like a predator trying to appear harmless. His eyes found hers immediately. Dark. Intelligent. Assessing. He crossed the room and stopped at her table. Elena. Mateo. May I sit? She gestured to the chair across from her. He sat, and for a moment they just looked at each other. You're different than I imagined, Elena said finally. How so? Younger. Less intimidating. He smiled slightly. Don't let appearances fool you. Is that a warning? It's a truth. A waitress appeared. Mateo ordered black coffee, nothing else. After she left, Elena spoke. I have questions. I expected nothing less. Why me? Really? There are thousands of people in this city who need help. Why did you choose me? Mateo leaned back, considering. Because you made a choice that impressed me. You had everything to lose and nothing to gain. And you helped anyway. That's rare, Elena. That's worth recognizing. So this is a reward? This is acknowledgement that the right choice shouldn't cost everything. But it does. That's how the world works. Not in my world. His eyes were steady. In my world, loyalty is rewarded. Courage is protected. And people who do extraordinary things are given extraordinary opportunities. Your world, Elena repeated. What exactly is your world, Mateo? One you've probably guessed it already. I've made assumptions. Such as you're involved in things that aren't entirely legal. That you have power most people don't. That you operate outside normal social structures. All accurate. Are you a criminal? Legally? I've never been convicted of anything. Morally? He tilted his head. That depends on your definition of morality. Do you hurt people? I protect my own. Sometimes that requires eliminating threats. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I can give honestly. Elena absorbed this. Your sister said you're the best person she knows. My sister is biased. Is she wrong? Mateo was quiet for a moment. I'm not a good man, Elena. I've done things that would horrify you. But I'm loyal. I protect what's mine. And I reward those who show courage and integrity. So I'm, what? A project. You're someone I respect. Someone I want to help succeed. Someone who's proven they deserve opportunities they've been denied. And in return? Nothing. Elena laughed. No one helps for free. I'm not asking for repayment. But I am offering partnership. What kind of partnership? Mateo leaned forward slightly. You're brilliant, Elena. Your mind, your integrity, your moral compass. They're assets most people undervalue. I don't. I think you could do extraordinary things with proper support. Support meaning money? Support meaning resources, connections, opportunities to use your skills in ways that matter. In your world. In any world. But yes, I can provide access most people can't. Elena studied him. He was offering her something. She just wasn't sure what. What do you get from this? She asked. The satisfaction of seeing someone worthy succeed. And perhaps, he smiled slightly, someone I trust watching my accounts. I could use someone with financial expertise and moral clarity. Someone who isn't afraid to tell me no. You want me to work for you? I want you to consider it. Eventually. No pressure. No timeline. Just think about it. What if I refuse? What if I walk away right now and never talk to you again? Then I respect your choice. And I stop helping. Just like that. Just like that. This only works if you want it, Elena. Coercion defeats the purpose. She believed him, which was terrifying in its own way. I need to think, she said finally. Of course. Take all the time you need. He stood, placed a card on the table. That's my direct number. When you're ready to talk again, if you're ready, call me. And if I'm not? Then I hope you have a good life, Elena Vasquez. You've earned it. He turned to leave. Mateo? He looked back. Thank you. For everything. Even if I don't fully understand it yet. His expression softened. You're welcome. And then he was gone. Elena sat alone with her cold tea and racing thoughts. The next 3 days were a blur of internal debate. Elena went to work, performed well, came home, helped her family. But her mind was always elsewhere. On Mateo. On his offer. On the life he was proposing. You've been quiet, Maria observed Wednesday evening. Just thinking. About the man? Elena looked up. How did you know? I'm your mother. I always know. Maria set down her tea. What did he say to you? Elena told her everything. The meeting. The offer. The questions it raised. When she finished, Maria was thoughtful. This man, she said slowly. He's dangerous? Yes. But not to you. I don't think so. And he's helped us. Our family. Without asking anything in return. So far. Maria reached over, took Elena's hand. Mija, you've spent your whole life doing the right thing. The hard thing. And what did it get you? Poverty. Struggle. Watching your dreams slip away. Her grip tightened. Maybe it's time to accept help. Maybe it's time to let someone powerful be on your side. But at what cost? What cost has there been so far? Elena didn't have an answer. That evening she called Lucia. I met your brother. I heard. What did you think? He's intense. Complicated. Exactly like you said. Lucia laughed. Did he try to recruit you? Sort of. That's Mateo. He sees talent and wants to cultivate it. But Elena? He's serious about the no-pressure thing. If you say no, he'll respect it. Would he really stop helping? Pause. He'd stop the overt help. The job offers, the connections. But I think he'd still keep you safe. He wouldn't be able to help himself. Because I saved you. Because he respects you. There's a difference. Elena was quiet. Lucia? What's it like? Being in his world? Complicated, Lucia said honestly. Sometimes dangerous. Often morally ambiguous. But also, protected. Powerful. Free in ways most people aren't. Free. When you have Mateo Salvatore's protection, you don't worry about the things most people worry about. Money. Safety. Justice. He handles all of it. That sounds like giving up control. Or gaining a different kind of control. The control to pursue what matters without constant fear. After they hung up, Elena sat in the darkness, thinking. She'd spent her whole life being good. Being moral. Doing the right thing. And she'd been punished for it repeatedly. Maybe it was time for a different approach. On Thursday evening, Elena called the number on Mateo's card. He answered on the second ring. Elena. I want to meet again. Can we talk? Of course. Same place. No. Somewhere of your choosing. I want to see your world. Pause. Are you sure? No. But I'm curious. Curiosity is a start. I'll send a car. Tomorrow evening. 7 p.m. Where are we going? To my home. So you can see who I really am. Elena's heart raced. Okay. Elena? You can change your mind anytime. No judgment. I know. Good. See you tomorrow. Friday dragged endlessly. Elena worked, ate lunch, participated in meetings. But her mind was elsewhere. Tonight. She was going to see Mateo's world. And decide if she wanted to be part of it. At 6:30 she changed into a dress. Nothing fancy, just professional. Black, simple, elegant. Carlos noticed. You look nice. Where are you going? Meeting someone. The car guy? Yes. Be careful, sis. I will. At 7 exactly a car arrived. Not the Rolls-Royce. Something more subtle. A black sedan with tinted windows. Thomas was driving again. Miss Vasquez. Mr. Salvatore is looking forward to seeing you. Where exactly are we going? His residence. About 20 minutes from here. They drove through the city heading toward the waterfront. The buildings got taller. More expensive. More exclusive. Finally they pulled up to a high-rise. Sleek glass and steel. The kind of building with a doorman and security clearance. Thomas opened her door. Top floor. Mr. Salvatore is expecting you. Elena entered the lobby. A guard checked her name against the list, then directed her to a private elevator. Penthouse button, he said. She pressed it. The elevator rose smoothly, silently. Through the glass walls, the city spread below her. Lights. Life. Possibility. The doors opened directly into an apartment. No, not an apartment. A penthouse. Sprawling. Modern. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the harbor. And standing by those windows, silhouetted against the city lights, was Matteo. He turned. Elena. Welcome. She stepped inside. The elevator closed behind her. This is impressive. It's home. He crossed the room, gestured to a seating area. Please. Make yourself comfortable. Elena sat on a leather sofa that probably cost more than her rent. Matteo took the chair across from her. Can I offer you something? What? Water? Water's fine. He poured 2 glasses from a crystal decanter. Handed her one. You wanted to see my world, he said. This is part of it. Luxury. Isolation. Power. It's lonely. He smiled. Perceptive as always. Yes. It can be very lonely. Then why live like this? Because it's necessary. Because the work I do requires distance. Protection. Control. The work being? Managing interests. Resolving disputes. Protecting assets, human and otherwise. You sound like a businessman. I am a businessman. Just not a conventional one. Elena set down her water. Matteo, I need you to be direct with me. What exactly do you want from me? He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I want someone I can trust. Someone with integrity who can advise me on financial matters. Someone who won't be corrupted by money or power because they've already proven they value something more important. Morality. Yes. But you said you're not a moral man. I'm not. That's why I need someone who is. To balance me. To tell me when I'm crossing lines I shouldn't cross. So I'd be, what? Your conscience. My advisor. My consultant. My truth teller. And the illegal parts of your business? You'd never be asked to participate in anything that violates your ethics. I promise you that. Elena studied him. Why would you trust me with that kind of power? Because you already had power over me the moment you saved Lucia. You could have leveraged that. Demanded payment. Used the connection. You didn't? That tells me everything I need to know. I could still betray you. You could. But you won't. How do you know? Because betrayal requires deceit. And you're incapable of it. It's your greatest strength and your most dangerous weakness. Elena stood, walked to the windows. The city stretched endlessly. Beautiful. Complex. Full of shadows and light. This is a lot to take in. I know. I need more time. Take it. She turned to face him. What if I say no? Permanently? Matteo stood, crossed to stand beside her. Close but not threatening. Then I'll respect your choice. I'll stop the active help. But Elena? Yes. I'll never stop watching out for you. Not because I want something. But because people like you are rare. And worth protecting. His eyes were intense. Sincere. And Elena realized something. He meant every word. I'll think about it, she said quietly. Seriously. And I'll give you an answer soon. That's all I ask. He walked her back to the elevator. As the doors opened, he handed her something. A key. What's this? Access to this building. To this floor. If you ever need anything, sanctuary, help, just a quiet place to think, you're welcome here. Anytime. Elena stared at the key. That's a lot of trust. You've earned it. The elevator doors closed. Elena rode down in silence, key clutched in her hand. A key to his world. A choice she hadn't made yet, but was maybe starting to. And there you have it. Elena Vasquez. A woman who chose courage over convenience. Who saved a stranger and changed her own destiny. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is accept help. To trust that not all power is corrupt. That not all darkness is evil. Elena found protection in shadows. Justice in unexpected places. And a connection that transcended their different worlds. This is Forbidden Empire, where ordinary people collide with extraordinary circumstances. and where every choice echoes forever. This story moved you? Subscribe to our channel. Share it with someone who needs to believe that courage is always rewarded, even if not in the ways we expect. And remember, in the Forbidden Empire, protection is power. Loyalty is currency. And sometimes, the most dangerous people are the ones who save us. Thank you for watching. Until the next story.